Hello, I'm Nara Chagas, and we are starting now another edition of What's Happening in Brazil. And we're gonna begin by talking about the latest events in the country. An investigation carried out by the federal police pointed to a possible link between former President Jair Bolsonaro and the illegal sale of jewelry and valuables by his advisors. So far, the understanding of the federal police is that the funds generated from the sale of jewelry given as a gift to the Brazilian government during the former president's term were passed on to Bolsonaro in cash. The operation investigating the case was carried out on August 11 with search and seizure warrants against people around the former president. The police are now asking for breaking of the tax and banking secrecy of the former First Lady Michele Bolsonaro and the former president. And the situation has worsened even more against people linked to the former president. Also last week, Silvinei Vasquez, former director of the Federal Highway Police, was arrested. He is being investigated for alleged interference in the second round of last year's elections. On election day, the Federal Highway Police carried out typical operations in the north and northeast of Brazil, which hindered or prevented the movement of voters in the regions which had an absolute majority of voters for President Lula. The investigation would have found evidence that Vasquez acted in the operation in partnership with Anderson Torres, then Minister of Justice in the Bolsonaro government. Meanwhile, on the 11th of August, the federal government launched the new edition of the Growth Acceleration Program, known in Brazil as PAC, a key program for the Workers' Party administration. The so-called new PAC foresees around $340 billion in public, private, and state investments in 4 years. According to the Civil Officer Minister Rui Costa, who will coordinate the program, the measures adopted during the development of the PAC should generate 4 million jobs. Costa also stated during the program's relaunch ceremony that the new edition of the program will pay special attention to measures for energy and sustainable transitions, which increase the country's productive capacity. And the Brazilian Federal Supreme Court resumed judgment on the decriminalization of drug possession for personal use. The analysis of the subject began in 2015 and has only now been resumed. After the vote by Minister Alexandre de Moraes, the session was postponed once again with 4 votes in favor of decriminalization. After the reading of Moraes' vote, Minister Gilmar Mendes, who is rapporteur for the process, asked for more time for analysis. Specialists consider the discussion extremely important to reduce the negative effects of the so-called war on drugs, which has a high lethality in Brazilian peripheries. On the 9th of August, the Amazon Summit ended. In addition to the official event, the city of Belém in the state of Pará, in northeast Brazil, hosted many parallel activities promoted by popular movements. This was the case of the Amazonian Dialogues and the March of the Peoples of the Earth.
During the Amazon Summit, which took place on the 8th and 9th of August, indigenous, social, and union movements occupied the city of Belém to denounce crimes committed in the territories comprising the biome.
We want these dialogues for the Amazon to be in fact heard by our representatives, and we want these rights to guarantee food, health, education, protection of our territories, the maintenance of our lives in the Amazon and in the country, to actually be more than papers and speeches, because there is just too much talk. But in reality, we are impacted by the non-implementation of public policies for our people. We are marching here because we will not get tired of marching for our rights.
Over 27,000 people participated in the Amazon Dialogues meeting, and for the movement's march, More than 5,000 militants from national and international movements were present, with the most varied agendas related to the preservation of the Amazon and territories.
We have come to demand that governments respect this territory, which is sacred to us, because here in this territory are all the elements that guarantee the life of humanity. And that's why we first asked for territorial legal security for the 511 Amazonian peoples of the Amazon Cuenca, and we also asked for protection for the defenders of forests and territories.
Peasant movements articulated by Via Campesina, such as the movement of people affected by dams, the MAB, and the landless workers movement, left their message under the motto, "Nothing about the Amazon without the Amazonians."
We have a movement from 7 states, Rondônia, Pará, Mato Grosso, Amazonas, Tocantins, and Maranhão. The importance of this event for social movements and MAB is enormous, as we are building our demands for a true energy transition with a social and popular participation.
The march culminated in the presentation of a collective document with proposals in defense of the biome, ranging from combating illegal mining to strengthening popular participation in the organization of the Amazon Cooperation Treaty.
We finalized our process by delivering a letter, the letter from the peoples of the earth for the Amazon, to the Brazilian government authorities. The document was written collectively, thought collectively, the result of a process in which we have already been accumulating necessary understandings for public policies and for a change in the Amazonian fate. In the letter, we state the basic themes necessary for us to make a leap in quality in the Amazonian and environmental agenda.
The movements guarantee that they will continue in collective organization towards the COP30, scheduled to take place in 2025, also in the capital of the state of Pará.
This is the purpose that we bring to the march, that is necessary for us to take sides, to have a position on the Amazonian issue, on the environmental issue, which concerns everyone. That is why we call for the next 2 years prior to COP30 to be involved in intense activities and organization in order to build more popular and participatory mechanisms.
Students and workers in the education system protested in Brasília during the last week to claim a list of improvements in public education. See it on Culture Talk.
Repeal of the new secondary education model, the militarization of schools, and application of the national wage floor law for public teaching professionals in Brazil. These were some of the agendas for a busy week in Brasília in defense of public education. On August 9, hundreds of teachers and students from different states of the country gathered in front of the Ministry of Education in Brasília to present their demands. One of them is that Fundeb, the Fund for Maintaining and Developing Basic Education and Valuing Education Professionals, be removed from the fiscal framework agenda.
Nós queremos que o Fundeb fique fora do arcabouço.
We want Fundeb to remain outside the fiscal framework. This is crucial so that mayors and governors continue to give the investment that education needs. If this does not happen due to the fiscal responsibility law, investments will continue to be blocked logically in order not to pay the minimum wage for the category, not to guarantee progressions, not to hold a public tender. So on these points, the Minister of Education needs to help in negotiations with the National Congress.
Another important point that was raised was the repeal of the new Brazilian high school model, implemented during the government of former President Jair Bolsonaro. This week, the Ministry of Education presented a report with proposals for change sent by the population through a public consultation.
The Ministry of Education's report meets the demands we raised and the need to send a bill to the National Congress. This is important, and it is a fundamental achievement for us because if we do not forward a bill to the National Congress, the law will not be changed in the points of the demands that we are raising.
Essa nova perspectiva de ter projeto de
This new perspective of a bill is very positive for us to be able to guarantee the repeal of the new model of secondary education and the presentation of this new education model. It is not possible to rebuild Brazil without first rebuilding the public school and doing this along with Brazilian students. For a public, free, quality school structured with valued education professionals and the guarantee of our entry into higher education.
Issues related to higher education, such as the defense of the quota law and the university autonomy, were also guidelines in the mobilization.
A gente pautou a questão.
It is a set of important agendas that are centered today on the issue of repelling the new model of secondary education, and which has as our unit of action the defense of public education.
Did you like the show? So hit the like button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to receive notifications. We'll see you next week.